On Get Up, and Jalen, this is a tough one. What was the last NBA Finals in which the home team won each of the first 4 games?
You mean this is a tough one, so let me get this right. Good morning, Himbo. You know I love you, my brother. So let me get this right. Himbo knows that I'm an encyclopedia. He knows I'm a basketball almanac. So Greedy, he gives me these abstract questions. So let me think. Maybe when it was Russell and Chamberlain. How about that? Or maybe when it was Dr. J. Like, maybe it was Magic and Bird. Maybe it was the Bad Boys. Like, are we talking about 75 years? You know what I'm saying? How about this? One of the series, the Golden State Warriors against the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Okay, you're right. It is an abstract question. It was almost impossible. The answer is the 2006 NBA Finals between the Heat and the Mavericks. That was the Dwayne Wade-Shaq series, and they wound up winning it in 6. I agree with you. I think we file a complaint. That question was not fair. Meantime, let's find out exactly how this series got to be even at 2 games apiece, with the home team winning all of them. Game 4 was close last night. In the fourth quarter, Suns were up by 5. Devin Booker on the bench with 5 fouls. And now he's come back, and there's Giannis throwing down a slam. Bucks within 3. Then, as we go further, again, here's the play I meant to say. This is Booker getting back on defense again with 5 fouls. Ooh, that could easily have been number 6, but he's not called for it. Under 3 minutes to go, Suns are down by 2. Booker making his presence felt. What a night he had. 42 points. That tied it at 97. But on the other side, Chris Middleton was just as good. He scored 40. Look at him working from the top of the key. Then there is one of the great defensive plays in finals history. Giannis Antetokounmpo guarding everybody, stopping the pick, stopping the roll, stopping the slam from DeAndre Ayton. A spectacular defensive play to preserve what turns out to be a 6-point win. As Big Perk rejoins us here with Jalen. And you know, Jalen, you mentioned Russell a moment ago. Michael Wilbon said that one was from the Bill Russell archives. I've watched it over. I think we've lost Jalen, so we'll try and get him back. At Big Perk, we've been talking about it this morning. I've watched it over and over again. The number of things that Giannis does on that play, the more times you watch it, the more you see just what a spectacular play that is.
Absolutely, Greeny. And look, you know, I've been very critical of Giannis. I said he shouldn't have won Defensive Player of the Year. But when he does things like this, it's a friendly reminder to all the ones that doubted him, include myself, why he won Defensive Player of the Year. Greeny, he guarded this whole entire action by himself. Like, look, in that pick and roll coverage, the rule is if you're big, is to not let Ayton get behind you. You're supposed to drop as he rolled. Giannis let him get behind him, right, because he had to contain Devin Booker. And then on the weak side, Cuttington was supposed to give him Ayton a hold-up screen so that he didn't get a free ride to the basket. But guess what? Giannis broke it all up with his pure athleticism, his will to want to win the game, and not afraid of embarrassment. It was a huge block and a huge moment.
And we got Jalen back. And again, to be clear, for anyone who didn't watch the game, it comes with a minute left to preserve a 2-point lead. Jalen, we're talking all morning long. Wait a minute. Jalen's calling a 20. What's the problem?
I need to quote the great American philosopher Kendrick Perkins and address him like the numbers on the house. By the way, Batman is Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's their franchise player. He's the guy that is 7 foot tall and is making all of the plays each game. As a matter of fact, he just had 2 back-to-back 40-point games. Kendrick, let me finish. Yep. I've heard you 5 times this day, and I'm going to see you 5 more times today. Let me just tell you this. So, just because a perimeter player has the skills to close the game, that doesn't make him Batman. I played against Kobe when he had Shaq. Shaq was Batman. Kobe was the closer. There's a difference between a starting pitcher and the closer. That does each time you say that Middleton is Batman, that's shade at Giannis. And I'm here to say that Batman can also get a terrific steal and get a breakaway dunk like we see. He can also do an amazing block above the rim like we see against Ayton. He can also drop a dime to Pat Connaughton. You ask Chris Middleton when you get a chance, who's Batman of the team?
Go ahead, Big Perk.
Well, you ask Giannis when you get a chance to go in the post-game interview who's the Batman of the team, because he has told us time and time again when it matters the most, he's not afraid to defer to Chris Middleton. And we witnessed that last night. He said it in the post-game. I trust this man. He hasn't let me down. And I told you this before. Just because I called Chris Middleton the Batman doesn't mean I meant that he was the best player on the team. Me and Greeny just discussed it. Greeny said, I understood where you was coming from.
No. Hold
on. And then, hold on, Jalen. And you know what else? The craziness that just came out your mouth about Shaq and Kobe. First of all, Shaq and Kobe was two Batmans on the same team, okay? It could have been a discussion, and it was a discussion when it came down to those finals MVPs. People are still debating this to this day. Let me tell you this, J. Rose. You said that Kobe wasn't a Batman. When Shaq left, Kobe still won him too. So he had to be some type of Batman. He won without Shaq.
Kendrick Perkins, I love you very much. You guys are using the definition of a Batman incorrectly. Am I fair, Greeny? I want to ask you a question. Hey, Greeny.
Yes.
Hold on, Greeny. What do you consider a Batman of an NBA team?
Yes, correct. Jalen, I understand what you're saying, and that's why we tried to clear it up earlier, that clearly Giannis is the best player on that team, and if that means he's Batman, then so be it. I'm not here for any Robin slander, though, I'll tell you that. As one who has always considered Robin to be a superhero, I'm a big fan of Robin, but I understand what you're saying, that Giannis, if he was inclined to feel that way, would feel like Big Perk is saying Middleton is the best player or the most important player on that team. I understand what you mean.
First off, the definition of Batman is actually being the guy. Okay? When Michael played with Scotty, there was a Batman and there was a Robin. Kendrick Perkins, you talked to me about when Kobe won 2 rings without Shaq. And rest in peace to the Black Mamba. You know I'm his basketball caddy. But in 2000, Shaq was Batman, big fella. What are you saying?
Okay.
It's not even a question.
Okay,
Shaq was the one that won back-to-back finals MVPs.
J. Rose.
There's hold on. And as a big man, but hold on, Perk. I want you to put some respect on the big man. How many guys in the history of basketball that are 7 foot tall that you're going to see out at the hash mark initiating offense with 8 seconds to go in the game? Hashtag maybe the Joker? That's it. Like, that's too much to ask for a big guy. Giannis isn't a free throw shooter. He isn't a 3-point shooter, but Giannis is the perfect basketball player, the face of the franchise, and the Batman of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Perk, your thoughts?
It's just so bad when you have you know when Batman comes along in a movie is when you're watching a movie and the police officers and stuff can't solve the problem, right? They try everything in their power and they try to capture the villain and they can't get it done. But when it comes up, when it matters the most, who comes to save the day? Batman. And that's what I'm referencing when I'm talking about Chris Middleton. Giannis is telling us this in his post-game interview, Jalen. Giannis is preaching to us. He has said it twice throughout this playoff run, that, hey, when it matters the most, I'm not afraid to trust Chris Middleton. You see how the phone hung up in Jalen's face? Because they know everybody knew Jalen was coming on here talking crazy today. Everybody knew Jalen was coming on here talking crazy today. Giannis is the most dominant player. When it comes to possession by possession, Greeny, give the ball to Chris Middleton and get the hell out the way.
We did lose Jalen there, but Marcus, I'm told, has been listening to all of this and enjoying it enormously. Marcus, I'll give you a quick final word.
I just think it's beautiful when two basketball aficionados get together. But I'm with Perk on this one, G. Like, I get it. I understand what he's saying. Jalen has great points, as Jalen always does. But the bottom line is, like Perk said, like we talked about earlier, when you need the job to get done, you got to go to the guy that can create on his own buckets. And that's what we're talking about, him being Batman. No, not the best player. No, not the most impactful player throughout the majority of the game. But Chris Middleton 40 resulted in a win, and it was because he was able to close the game out. And that's what Batman does.
See all this? See what this is? These are all the questions I had prepared for that segment. That didn't go the way we expected, but it was even better. Guys, thank you. I'm sorry that we lost Jalen.